Communication Error.
Welcome to episode 71 of the Communication Error podcast. The community patch notes. Actually, no, this is a special episode. This is a special episode of the remake of physical versus digital games. I'm actually really excited for tonight because what our guest has brought to the table has done much more work than I have ever done for anything in my entire life for one night. Fan favorite Thunderstash, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I am very excited to be here.
We're excited to have you, man.
Thank you. When you let me know what the topic was going to be as well, I was even more excited. I was already excited to be on the show. And then when you said what it was going to be, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is right up my alley, man. So I was pretty excited.
Yeah, and I'm like, Cheesy's like, who should we get for this? And I'm like, get Thunderstash because he's the one making me buy all these physical games now.
That's awesome.
But glad to have you back.
You had a great episode last week. A lot of people loved your episode. They said that it was like one of their favorites. So, no pressure or anything tonight.
This one is, I think it's already my favorite. Like, I don't even, like, I know a hint of it, but I don't know all of it, but I think it's going to be a good one. And I think if people are listening to the audio version only, you should find the video either on YouTube or on Spotify because you're not going to want to miss what's going on tonight. But before we get into it, make sure you leave 5-star reviews on Spotify and Apple. I don't think we got any new ones this week, but no big deal. Make sure you leave 5-star reviews. It's my birthday tomorrow. Well, I guess when this comes out yesterday, it's my birthday yesterday.
In the past, just another year older.
So for my birthday, make sure you leave a review. I don't even care if you call me out for the one chip because I was listening to the Drip and G podcast and they spent like 10 minutes
as they should
calling me out on not doing the one chip challenge yet. And I will say, I love living rent-free in their heads. I think I'm just going to push this off. I'm just going to push it off a little bit longer.
No. Yeah, I mean, it is annoying. I got to say, you were someone who was so just like, Nintendo's not going to have anything new this year. Why would they? It's like the last year of the Switch, and I called you out on it. I said that they were going to. How many new games do they have, Johnny? How many new games?
Yeah, but how many?
Doesn't matter.
How many new games?
Doesn't matter if you like them or not. Doesn't matter if you like them or not.
Actually, Zelda looks like a Game of the Year contender, and the previews for Mario Party came out today. That looks really good, and Brothership looks like it's going to be good. Yep.
Again, all of the things that you said weren't going to be good. Seems like they're going to be pretty good.
I think Nintendo listens to me. That's what I'm going to go with. They're going to be like, I'm going to prove John Ebo wrong.
But they don't invite you to anything. Just to rub salt in the wound.
All right. I will get the chip soon.
Oh, he hasn't even got it yet.
Soon.
This is ridiculous.
I will have an update. Actually, I'll have an update soon. All right. Let's do that. Yeah. I'll do an update soon.
Well,
okay.
You ever heard of the boy that cries wolf?
Oh, yeah.
So we already did the question that we usually do for guests, but I was thinking of something, and I saw, since you're on the Nintendo Byte podcast, and I know Nintendo Prime, Nate loves Nintendo Switch 2 rumors.
Yeah.
So we are potentially seeing the Nintendo Switch 2 this month, and there was a new rumor on, I think, Reddit, and it apparently is going to be on September 18th, and it's going to be called
4chan.
Oh, was it 4chan? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so take this with a grain of salt, but the supposed name is Nintendo Switch version 2. I want to know what you guys think of that name.
Well, first off, I saw the tweet. I saw the 4chan rumor on a makeshift Nintendo letterhead. Did you guys see the Nintendo letterhead?
Oh yeah, because
dude, so good.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Those letterheads that are, Nintendo famously puts out for everyone to make their own copy of.
Yeah, it gave me like my uncle works at Nintendo vibes.
Yeah.
It was really good. Like I was laughing. I'm like, this is funny. But yeah, I read it, Nintendo Switch version 2.0, and I don't think it's going to be called that at all. I think there was a couple other rumors to that, right? To that
Oh yeah,
4chan.
it was talking about like Metroid Prime Beyond. Oh, let's see. A foldable dock, which I don't know what that means. Bigger than the OLED. Colored buttons on Joy-Cons. Like, these are kind of safe.
Yeah, like I expect colored buttons on Joy-Cons for a variety of reasons that they've already kind of proven in a way, I think, with Switch 1 games. So I expect that.
So
I did have.
it says
I had
Metroid.
it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so no, because this is what throws me off. It says Metroid Prime 4 Beyond significant visual upgrade, showcase of the open area, control gunship between planets, physically attack enemies with armed cannon and crystal cave with giant alien bats, multiplayer PvP, which I know Metroid Prime 2 had it, but I don't think they're gonna do it again. So that makes me believe that this is false.
These all feel, for the most part, safe, right? Like
Yeah.
all of these things with Metroid Prime 4 could certainly happen. I think the least likely of everything listed is that last thing, the multiplayer. Yeah, attack enemies with the arm cannon. Probably pushing like the R3 stick.
Yeah, because they do that. Well, they do that in Dread, so.
Yeah, makes sense. That would be cool. Yeah, significant visual upgrade, no doubt. I've been on the Metroid Prime 4 launching on both the Switch and Switch 2 with improved visuals bus since day one. I think that sounds super legit. Foldable dock. I've heard some different ideas about docks. I haven't heard foldable. Now we know TVs are foldable now. That's been at CES for the last few years. However, those are extremely expensive and, not for the everyday consumer. Certainly not. Some of those things are very questionable. The open world Mario, what do you guys think of that? That was interesting.
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
So it says open world. Oh, it says open world Mario based in Mushroom Kingdom. Wow, shocker! Mario chasing rabbits in open field. Some sort of day and night cycle. Cloud area has smaller islands surrounding main island. Small. Is this the same thing? Small blue ogre girl wearing crown and holding club hammer in Princess Peach's castle. I guess it's the same thing.
Okay, all right. Here's where I'm at with it. I don't want it. I think like we already have. No, we already have Legend of Zelda. Like that's their open world formula. I think it's great if Nintendo has their properties that are doing separate things. Johnny, I know you want every game to be the same. I know you want crossovers.
No, I didn't say that. Super Mario Odyssey is essentially open kingdom. Like it's just small open worlds.
It feels like an open zone game.
Yeah. Like I've been playing Astrobot and I think Thunderstash has as well. And I feel like it feels dated with the one level per thing. You have to leave the level after you beat it, you go into another level. Like Astrobot is essentially Mario. It's just Mario Galaxy. Not essentially. It is a Mario Galaxy game. And I just think with where they were going with Odyssey, an open world makes way more sense than going back.
Well, okay, I can see it, and I like what they did with Bowser's Fury. So I guess I'm not completely against the idea, but like it needs to have platforming because that is what makes a Mario game. Like
Bowser's
that's
Fury
gonna
had
be
that. Odyssey had that.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying is like I just want them to be completely different than like Breath of the Wild. Like that should just be its own thing. Mario is jumping off everything and using power-ups, and that's If it is open world in that way, fine. That'd be cool.
I've been hearing that open world rumor for the new 3D Mario. I feel like what maybe 2 years. Probably getting damn close to that. That is the plan apparently for this next Mario. That's the evolution. But you know Nintendo will be very careful if they do that with how they do that to make sure it still feels like Mario, I would presume.
Yeah.
The Mario Kart stuff sounded interesting too. I mean, it's okay. They say there's around 15 to 16 racers. Okay, I mean, whatever. What do we have? 40, 48 right now? I think 48
Yeah.
different characters in Mario Kart. So okay.
I mean, a lot of them are babies or just like
Different
kind of other
colors.
versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 of them are the Koopa kids.
Right. You got all the DLC stuff. I would presume that maybe, yeah, I would start off at that. My idea for Mario Kart on like what Nintendo I feel like is very likely going to do is it's going to release Mario Kart will be the earliest launched Mario Kart for a new Nintendo console in all of their history. Meaning like if you look at when 64 came out, September 96, I think Mario Kart came out in February 97. That was pretty close to the launch window. I think that was as close as any of them got outside of the re-release for Switch. They saw how successful it is. I mean, it's the #1 selling game on the Switch by far, a 10-year-old game that has been touched up graphically a little bit. And then obviously there was a lot more content added later on when they decided, hey, we can't pull the plug on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's just selling too good. Let's just make more tracks and sell DLC. And this will give the other team more time to work on the new Mario Kart for launch on the Switch too. I expect Mario Kart, the new one, to be launch window, which if you have 15 to 16 racers, hypothetically, that would make sense because you're going to add more because it's going to be an evergreen title. So as the years go on, you get more characters. Obviously, they're going to have unlockable characters. We won't have to pay for them all because this is Nintendo, and they still have stuff to unlock, which is great. But I would expect something along that line for Mario Kart. And then they say giant disco kart.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like, is it like Double Dash, but instead of 2 characters, it's 4?
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to gather. But at the same time, this is 4chan. And I like 4chan. Like, I like some of the stuff that comes out of it. But this just sounds like some obvious stuff mixed in with a little bit of horse shit.
Yeah, I agree. I think
like
most of it is fairly safe. Like, yeah, of course there's going to be a Mario game. Of course there's going to be a Mario Kart game. And even the third-party games that they're choosing, like Football Club, Elden Ring, Assassin's Creed, like they're all like that's pretty standard.
I expect all of those. Yeah.
At this point, I just need to see Backyard Sports on the next successor, and like I'll believe all the rumors because obviously that's going to be the biggest game when it comes out. Just a collection.
Who was it that wanted to buy Backyard Sports?
Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, so funny. Yeah, my cousin sent it to me. He likes the Backyard Sports games as well. Yeah. And I was like, no way, dude. That's so cool that he really wants to do that. Like, he wants to bring it back.
Backyard Sports was confirmed to be coming back.
They're coming back. Yeah. And,
you guys know when?
If you're... No, they haven't said, but if you're following their Twitter, they're actually doing it pretty smart. Like they have their characters from the game giving like news updates. So I don't know if you guys ever played the games, but they would have like their little commentators before the game, maybe during halftime and at the end of the game. And they're like sharing today's sports news just through like images and telling people like these are the things you missed this week.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah,
All right,
pretty cool.
you give him a follow.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I think we could talk rumors and, you know, just like everybody else, and we have no idea what this is or when it's coming out. But and we still don't know, I guess, if Switch 2 will have physical copies or if it will just be a digital only machine. And Steve, I know that you have some thoughts about this. You prepared a whole, would I call it a game presentation? I mean, it's like,
Yeah, probably a presentation. Yeah, that sounds good.
all right. So,
Do you want to bring that up now, or do you have any thoughts before going into it?
As far as Switch 2, whether it's going to be physical or digital,
yep.
I will say that I'd be willing to put probably at least 50K down.
50K.
Yeah, that's it's going to be physical.
Yeah.
I'm super confident in that. If it wasn't, my God, that would be a travesty.
Do you think they have a SKU that is not physical?
A digital only SKU? No, not right now. I don't. I think they don't want to confuse the consumer also. You know, when the Switch came out, it was just a Switch, right? And I think that's important. When the Wii U came out, there was 2 different models. I don't think that was good. When the Wii came out, there was 1 model. I don't know that they want to go down the 2 model road again after the Wii U.
Damn.
Is my thought.
All right, so audio listeners, find the YouTube channel or look on Spotify because we got a big presentation. Steve has put together this physical pros and physical cons. Physical pros, cons, digital pros and cons. Little graphic together, and he's hiding most of it. So we don't know. We don't know what these are. We don't know what the pros and cons are.
Yeah, they're all hiding behind question blocks that you see or item blocks in Mario Kart. So we're learning as well. This is the second time that we have brought on Thunderstash, and it's just gone above and beyond what we ask anybody. We just have a podcast. We just ask people to come onto the show, and then Thunderstash is like, "Oh, you want me to like go the extra mile and like teach everyone something through PowerPoints and all these notes that I've taken?" Bet.
You know, I will say, like, at first I had brought up just a basic Microsoft Word doc. You know, just type out physical, digital pros and cons, and I just stopped right there. I'm like, you know, this looks like trash. This isn't going to be nice to share. Then I was like, do I go PowerPoint? I open up PowerPoint. They didn't have any templates I liked. Then I decided to do a Google search, and I was like, you know, I wonder if they have like a digital whiteboard app. You know, I wonder if that exists today in 2024. You'd think it would. Sure enough, it does. So that's what we're working with today, guys. This
Well,
is what
it
we
looks
ended up
glorious.
Yeah, so kind of, I guess, take us down the road that we are about to go on. What is this journey that you are taking us on?
All right. So, as we all know, there's so many opinions and thoughts. There's a lot of feelings involved, a lot of emotion when it comes to physical and digital, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different ways we can all go about it, but everyone's got their own opinions. And so what I've done is I've scoured the internet. I've watched a lot of videos. I watched a good amount of videos on YouTube over the weekend talking about physical versus digital. Primarily video games. I did watch one about movies and one about music, just to kind of hear what they had to say, see if it was like similar to some of the things we talk about in gaming. But it's really not. So a lot of the pros and cons don't really cross over too much. They're outside of the obvious ones. So basically, what we got is we have 16 physical pros along with 16 physical cons. And then on the other side of the whiteboard, we have 16 digital pros and 16 digital cons. And we're going to go through each one. I'll read it out loud, and we're going to kind of talk about if this is legit or not. Like, how much weight does this have? Is this really a pro? Is this really a con? And how big of a deal is it? And then I think the goal is by the time we get to the end of this, we're going to figure out where we stand after taking everyone's opinions. And because, look, you guys can see behind me, I like physical. Okay? Now, it's not to say that I don't own digital games, because I do. I do. If it's not available physically, I'm going to buy it digitally. Sure. It doesn't matter. Game's a game. But if given the option, I'm going to go physical. So that's where I've always stood. And I have a lot of reasons why, and a lot of them are covered here. However, I like to hear what other people think too. I'm not stuck in my ways. I'm not so old that I can't change. So that's kind of what we're doing here too. We're kind of seeing what everyone has to say and seeing truly how much weight this has. All right. So, ready to get cracking on this?
Let's go.
Okay. So, we're going to start with the physical pros. The first one is collectability. So, physical copies can, of course, be collected, displayed, and cherished. What do you guys think about that? How important is that?
I mean, for me, this is something that I love. I love just having it on my shelf, just knowing that I went to the store and bought it, or maybe it was a gift that somebody gave me, but it's all part of the collection. And maybe it may not mean something to someone else, but it means something to you because it's part of your collection. And I think Johnny has kind of turned around on this topic, because the first time that we discussed this, he was like, no, I don't care. Why would I care if I have this game on my shelf, physically on my shelf?
Well, I will say, like, this is listed as a pro of physical, and it's the first one. I do believe it is the top pro of having a physical copy, is collectability. It's not going anywhere, and you can just look at them and admire them. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obviously, like, I think it's the number one pro, but maybe when we go down this line, I may change my mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of good pros, and they're not in order, which is the beauty of it. I didn't stack them in a ranked order, so there's a lot of good ones in there. But yeah, I agree with you guys. Of course, it's nice to have the physical copies, and there's a lot of reasons they go into it, and I think some of them will be covered as I hit some more of these pros, but no doubt collectability. That's a huge one. So let's see what we got next here. Oh, yes. Ooh, this is a big one. This is a big one. Resale value. You can sell, trade, or land physical games. And many physical games tend to increase in value over time. Now, sometimes it's a long time, but a lot of them increase in value. That's a big one. What do you guys think?
This is slightly, well, I guess this is talking about the value, not about being able to resell. And, I went down this path of collecting GameCube games, and a lot of GameCube games have increased in value since, 2001, which is 20 years. And if you look at the resale value of a GameCube game versus like a stock, like if you were to purchase a stock 20 years ago, you would hope that it would increase in value more than 10% or 20, whatever it is, 20%. So yeah, they increase in value, but for the most part, they're only increasing based on inflation. I mean, there's some outliers, like the Pokemon games are outliers. The very rare games are outliers. I think the idea of buying games for reselling, you need to do research so you know which ones will most likely increase in value down the line. If that's how you want to, if that's what you're trying to do. If you're just buying games physically and then they increase in value, but it doesn't really matter because you were just buying it anyway, then it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I just feel like for me, I don't really sell a lot of my stuff. There was a time where I did sell some games that maybe I regret, or maybe I don't even remember what I sold to get a 3DS, because I was just like, oh man, I gotta have this new handheld. Um, so I mean, yeah, I think it's a pro. You have the option to make some money back or trade it in for something just as much value as what your collection was.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, the thing is that I don't sell my games. I still have all my old games too. I got all my old games from the NES, Super Nintendo. You don't sell them. I didn't fall for the trick. Now I did trade some stuff in, but I didn't trade any of my old stuff, right? And I didn't trade that much in because that's kind of a scam in a way. In a way, it's not. That's another debate, I guess. Because when you're a kid, right, and you can't work,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta get your games somehow.
yeah, and so I get that. Like, there's a market for it. Uh, again, lending games. That's a big one, especially when you're younger,
Hmm.
because like you can't afford to buy games because you don't really have any money because you're not working. You might have
Hmm.
like birthday money saved up or something, right? But the fact that I can buy or I can get a couple of games, right? And my friends from school can get a couple of games, and when they're done playing it, they can give it to me and vice versa.
Hmm.
And we did this back in the day during the 8 and 16-bit era all the time because there's so many games you want to play, but you can't buy them all. But hey, if your friend buys some and I buy some and you got your cousin who buys some, before you know it, hey, you get to play all these games for a fraction of the price.
Yeah, physical con though, you may not get that game back.
True. You have to be very careful with who you lend your games out to. Just like
Yeah.
lending money.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be really careful, man. But yeah, I totally get that. And as far as the value increasing, so I never bought games, right, to make so-called money, like balance sheet money.
Hmm.
But as I've collected them over the years, bought these games, played them, there came a time where I'm like, I need to know how much all this stuff's worth because I need to include this honestly on my homeowner's insurance policy under my, personal valuables. I need to know like that kind of stuff. That's really important. So God forbid something happens, right? And I need to replace all this. I want to make sure that I'm fully insured and then some. And of course, as I did that and I'm like pricing all this out, I just seen, my God, like some of these games have went up in price like an astronomical amount. Now, I don't buy crappy games. I just don't. You guys probably don't either. Like I was talking to my cousin about it, and I was telling him how, yeah, I beat every game I play. He's like, yeah, but what if you don't like it? Like you're just gonna what? Just keep playing it? I'm like, well, Jim, I don't play any games I don't like. He's like, what? That's not realistic. No one plays every game. Like no one likes every game that they play. I'm like, no, I do. Like I've been doing this for years. Like we've been gaming for 35 years. I think I know what I like by now.
Yeah, but I mean, there's probably times where you pick out a game that you're like, oh, I think I'm really gonna like this, and then you don't, right? Like, has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, it has throughout like the course of my life, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in this last year, I've probably beat, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 games just from now until beginning of the year to now. I played one game I can think of that sucked. And that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Wrath of the Mutants. But and you know what though? I knew going into it, it was probably gonna suck. But I wanted to bite the bullet for everybody else and review this game. I got it the day it came out. I put out the review the next day. But I wanted to make sure everyone knew that if this game's trash, I'm gonna let you know so you don't buy it. Like, I'll bite the bullet and spend $30 on it. I'm a Turtles fan, even if it sucks. It's fine. I have the physical game. Keep it in my collection. That was where my head was at with that. But going through these guys, so many games increase over time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me jump into the next one here. Okay. Ownership security. So you own a tangible item that can't be removed or lost due to digital rights changes. Been seeing this happen more and more lately. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Johnny still, I think, maybe I'm from the last time that we talked about this, Johnny doesn't think it's a thing. That
I don't think it's going to be a thing moving forward. Like, well, for the most part, like you're not going to lose access to Breath of the Wild. Like that game
Not Breath of the Wild.
will always be available. Like you might lose access to some crappy game that you didn't even care about, but you're going to get upset about it on the internet because, oh my God, they took it away, but nobody cares about that game anyway.
Yeah, I agree. We were not going to lose Zelda. We're not going to lose like big name games. I don't think that will happen. But the more it happens with some of the smaller games, you just never know what's going to happen 5 or 10 years down the line. Is the digital version you have going to be different? You know, like, is it going to be missing some songs, like Grand Theft Auto Vice City back in the day? Am I going to be missing some of my '80s jams? But if I put in my PS2 version that I have on my shelf back here, I still get to listen to all the great music. But if I play the Vice City that's on PlayStation Store, it's missing like a lot of music, a lot. San Andreas too, a lot. This is all due to rights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I would even think about it though. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna. Because, like they did that for Pikmin 2 as well, because there's branded items in Pikmin 2. There's like Duracell batteries, but in the re-release, they're just like generic batteries. But I would never have thought of it like when I'm playing the game. And now, even with the music, like I could just put my own music on that's on Spotify that I have access to. So I don't know. I don't think it's as big of an issue as people make it out to be.
Have we had the same thing as like what Warner Brothers has been doing, which is just shelving projects for tax write-off in the video game space? Have we had that yet? Because I don't know. I mean, I think there's other companies that are seeing what Warner Brothers is doing and probably is saying like, well, should we do that? And it doesn't mean that they should. It's awful. It's horrible. People have worked really hard to make these projects, and then you don't ever get to see them. I know maybe that's kind of steering a little bit away from the physical pro right now, but
I get what you're saying, because I mean, this kind of goes along with everything here. Like, once somebody does it,
Mm-hmm.
it opens the door to everyone else.
Yeah.
And if someone big does it, like a whale, like Warner Brothers is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes a big splash, right? It's going to open the door to a lot. A
Well,
lot of people
I
are going to
guess
be like, well,
we could
Warner Brothers
even.
does it, we could do it.
I guess we could even. Concord just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. Even if you had the physical game of that game, you can't play it. Like it's not all the servers are offline, so you can't play it. So it doesn't matter if it's physical or digital. But they just, pulled the rug. I have a feeling that they're going to bring that back somehow. But they pulled the rug for now. Hey, speaking of Concord, Thunderstash, did you get your copy?
It did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's behind me, right next to Reggie on my shelf there.
As soon as I saw the announcement that it was getting delisted, I'm like, oh man, now I gotta go try to find this thing. And they took it off all the webs. Like it's not on the websites. I went to 4 or 5 Targets, Walmarts, Best Buys, not there. So this could also happen to physical games if they really wanted to.
Yeah, it could. I agree. Yeah, I was very happy to get Concord. I thought I was going to get an email from Walmart, like a day or two after the order saying it was canceled.
I know that. I know this one is the big sticking point for a lot of people, the ownership. Like everybody's, whenever I talk about digital games, or everybody's like, oh, well, I like actually owning my games.
I think it's the trust factor too, because we've seen it happen now. Something that we didn't think was possible, like a game that someone bought being taken away. And yeah, maybe it's a crappy game, right? But it's the fact that it's happened now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been done. And now it's like, well, who's to say that that won't happen again to a game that I do care about? Like, I don't like that. And I think that's the reaction that probably a lot of people have, is that they don't even really look at the game. It's the fact that, hey, someone posted about this on Reddit or Twitter, or they made a YouTube video talking about a game that they bought, and now it's been removed, and they don't get their money back. There's nothing. It's just, it is what it is. It's your loss.
Oh, I know
And
what game I think. DuckTales.
DuckTales Remastered. I have the physical in my glass cage sealed.
That one did upset me.
Yeah, and you know what? That is some total BS, because that is a great game. And everyone loves the DuckTales IP, especially people our age who grew up with DuckTales. And yeah, man, that was frustrating. So yeah, that's a big one. That's a great pull there. But yeah, that's a big game, and people are still upset about that.
All right.
There
So
you go.
what's the next one you got?
All right, we got no download required, instant play after installation, no lengthy downloads. Now, guys, this isn't definitive, of course, because sometimes you do get a disc. Not all the data's on there, but more often than not, right? That's how it goes down. No download required. And the one thing I thought about this is that, I think that we all think internet access is commonplace around the globe, but it's not. It's not. There's other countries that game and they don't have internet. And that's a big deal. How do they play games? You can't just set up infrastructure overnight.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think my understanding of what, especially for PS5 and Xbox, like the non-Nintendo, because Nintendo is essentially everything's on the cart. You don't really have to download. You don't even have to download it to your console. But for PS5 and Xbox, you need to at least download off of the disc. I don't think it's downloading off of the internet. I think it's just off the disc.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I could buy a game from the store, and my PlayStation 5 cannot be connected to the internet, and I'll be able to install it and play it. So I think that's a big deal, honestly. It's not for the United States. It's not for the UK, Canada, Japan. But for some of the other countries, it is actually a big deal. I looked into that. And it's not even that, though, too. Like, even here in the US, like rural areas, they don't have internet still. There's so many places in the United States that still doesn't have internet. I
Especially
did some research
high-speed
on this.
internet. Like high-speed internet's not everywhere.
That's right. Like, if you if you're in an area with bad internet, like you don't have access to good internet, and you want to download the new Call of Duty, you might have to come back tomorrow or the next day.
I actually,
joke. Like it could take a day or two.
I'm not sure if this might be on the list, but I saw a TikTok and it was a guy talking about he has a video game club in high school, and he only does like Xbox 360 and prior, and people ask him like, why don't you get newer consoles? And his answer was, it takes forever to download.
Well, probably because they're at the school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's another, he said he was saying that a lot of them require internet access to just pretty much like say I'm the owner of this game, and then it like unlocks the game essentially. Or there's updates where you can't play the game unless you have the update.
That does happen on some games. It depends on what it is, though. I think for a majority of your single player games, you're not going to see that. But for instance, like NBA Jam on Fire Edition by EA Sports that came out on PS3, 360 era. The game, you can't play it online anymore. The server was taken down, yet I have to be connected to the internet to agree to all of EA's bullshit terms and accept all their stuff.
Just to play it?
Just to play it.
Wow.
I had to literally, yeah, and I tried to connect my PS3 to Wi-Fi, and like it just wasn't connecting. And I'm like, good Lord. I'm like, let me go dig out a Cat 5 cable so I can play this game real quick. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is stupid. Come on, man. Like, I can't even play online. The server is not on. So yeah, this does happen in instances like that. Or another example would probably be Ubisoft Connect.
Oh yeah. I think he was actually talking about Ubisoft specifically.
Yep. That's unfortunate. Like that, nobody likes that. Nobody likes that, except for Ubisoft. So, all right, you guys ready to hop into this next one?
Yeah. What else we got?
All right, we got better control over your library. Physical games aren't tied to a digital account, so they're unaffected by account bans or service shutdowns.
You know, I talk about, I show my digital library every so often, and people are always like, oh, this is all good and all until they ban your account. And I'm like, why would they ban? I don't know why I would get banned.
Because Nintendo's listening, Johnny.
Like, the only way you would get banned, I would think, would be to like hack a system or play like a pirated copy. I don't even know what gets accounts banned.
Imagine this. Here's something interesting for you guys. I just thought of this. All right, so obviously we all know that GameStop is buying retro games now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things that was brought up in videos, you guys know Metal Jesus?
Yes.
You've seen some of his videos.
Yeah.
Radical Reggie, his friend, posted a video about how, and this is legit, about how GameStop buys ROM hacks. They don't check the games. So they don't check any of them, Switch included. So someone could trade in a fake Switch game. You go to GameStop and buy it. Nintendo sees that you just put in a pirated cartridge. Now you're banned.
Well, I'm not buying. I'm not buying physical games ever again, especially from GameStop.
Well, yeah, because if you buy a game from GameStop new, it ain't new.
Yep.
The plastic's always off, and I've received new games where they're literally battered when they hit my doorstep. I've even received new games that have a used sticker on it, and I paid new price. Obviously, I got that fixed, but still, it takes time out of my day. I still got to drive there. I still got to explain my story to them. And then they still got to say, well, let me see if there's something we can do, because we usually don't accept returns online. What? What? You guys screwed me over. Give me my new game. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think sure this is a pro that you have more control over your physical collection, but also kind of what Johnny was saying is like there's only so many reasons that you can get banned. Like, and if you're kind of testing the limits of what is going to get you banned, then yeah, you probably are going to lose your account. You know, like if you're not trying to do any of those things, then your digital collection is probably going to be fine.
Yep. I agree with that. This is one of the pros that people talked about, but I don't know that's a huge factor. So I agree with
Piracy
you
is
guys on
bad,
that.
kids.
Yeah, don't do it. Here's one that I think we've all experienced this with the Switch, but you avoid digital store issues. No dependency on potentially buggy or slow digital store interfaces. Scrolling through
Counterpoint.
the Switch store is so slow.
Counterpoint.
So bad.
You just mentioned your experience with GameStop and how that could suck. So,
Yeah, I know. It's
but
like,
yeah,
how do
the
you win?
eShop sucks. I agree.
Yeah.
It's
I agree with
slow
that.
and it has a bunch of H-word games on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's getting pretty wild in there.
And AI games, like, they need to monitor that.
They do. They need to do a lot better job with that. It is littered with shovelware.
All right, I
All
would
right.
not put that one as high priority for me, for pro.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I guess I'm kind of the same. Obviously the pro of digital is convenience. We talked about it a lot in our last episode. And I may be annoyed that I'm not going to download the game at midnight just to play when it comes out. But I also am like okay with going to the store and picking it up myself and enjoying it when I can versus just having the easy access to an eShop.
Yeah, I agree with that. I get that. All right, the next one is game preservation. So physical copies help in preserving gaming history and culture.
I
Games
hate
don't
this word.
get-
I hate this
They
word.
don't get lost.
I hate
Johnny-
the game preservation word because people just use it as an excuse to pirate.
I do see that a lot. I do a lot. And it's too bad because
But whose fault is that on? Because like if
People
you
stealing, like, I understand emulating. I know the difference between emulating and pirating. Like I understand emulating a game that you no longer have access to. I understand that, but pirating a brand new game, no, that's stupid.
No, and I don't agree with that. But like,
I-
if you don't have access to these games anymore, like some games that should be in their online apps, how else are you going to play them? How else are you going to revisit the history that has been made?
Buy them secondhand.
Johnny, you already know how difficult it is to buy them secondhand.
Yeah, no, I mean I agree. I don't like. I think if the game is not accessible anymore, then yeah, it makes sense. But like, what was the number? Over 1 million people pirated Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. It was bad.
People say preservation a lot, and I'm sure there are a minority of them that actually care about preservation, but most of them just want to play games for free. That's the real thing that they want.
Well, but also I don't really understand it in that context because like what are you preserving? Because it's not like it's not available to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
That's my point.
Well, then people just don't understand what that word means.
Yeah, they're using it's a what a dog whistle? Is that the right term? It's a dog whistle.
I think that's.
I'm sure this one's gonna go over well with people. Piracy's bad.
Yeah, physical copies, right? Like, if the game is completely removed, there's no way to play this game at all. The only way to play it is if you own the physical copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's games where the code's been lost. Forget which game it was. I thought maybe it was one of the. I know Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, great game. They lost all the code for all the expansions. They lost it. There was a big name JRPG. I don't know if it was in the Final Fantasy series. It might have been. But they lost the code for the game. So they couldn't re-release it digitally. They don't even have the code for it. They'd have to remake the game. But if you own it physically, you still have the game.
It does make me wonder how many people years later will regret not collecting physically or if they just won't care. Because like I think with movies and music, kind of what you were saying earlier, like they don't really it's not really the same thing because like music you can listen to and it's not I don't know. I guess movies and music can be interactive, but not in the same way that a video game is. And so for those that are like, oh man, I really wish I could have played that game, but like I never bought it, I never picked it up. Like, will they care or will they just find videos of it online? Like, does it matter at this point?
Yeah.
I think for us, and I know you have a lot more to get through, but is it different for us because of like the era that we grew up in versus the people that are just downloading everything digitally? Johnny said this in the last episode. Everyone has what they want at their fingertips.
Yeah, I think that plays a huge factor. I was talking about this recently. My girlfriend, I remember having this talk with my cousin, my younger cousin. He is 20 now. Remember having this talk with him when he was like 12 or 13 at like Thanksgiving, right? He was making fun of me for owning the Back to the Future trilogy on Blu-ray. Like, what do you mean? Like, I own all my stuff physically.
Mm-hmm.
And we started having this debate. And again, this was a long time ago. And we went back and forth with our points. But it was at that moment that I'm like, this generation doesn't care about physical. It didn't matter how many great points I made. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They truly don't care. Once we're gone, physical is gone. Like,
Yeah, so will the
once we stop
value
being
be
the main consumer, it's gone.
so will that pro of value actually be correct? Because if nobody wants physical, then the value is zero.
It depends on game preservation, right? Because if the games get re-released and you're able to play it, then that's a different story. But if there's no way to play it and the only way to play it is physical, they might go up in value. But at the same time, they might also get lost to history, get lost to time. 50 years from now, will everyone know about some of these NES games behind me? Probably not.
What's an NES?
Right. Exactly. What does that
Yeah.
stand for?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. This is a good one for physical guys. Special editions. They often come with exclusive content like artwork, soundtracks, or collectibles, and sometimes they're really good. Off the top of my head, the most recent physical one I got was probably Nintendo World Championships.
Mm-hmm.
That had some really cool collectibles in there, and then I got this one right here. I'll show it on camera and tell everyone who's listening on audio about it. But I waited to get this game until it was ready for physical, and that's Baldur's Gate 3, the big box PC version, but for PS5. And this comes with a ton of stuff, and it's like the same price as it was digitally, except I'm getting. I don't even know everything that's in here, guys. I'll be honest with you. I pre-ordered it like a year ago, but
Are you going to open it?
I won't open it until I'm ready to play it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so God forbid it sits in my backlog for a long time. Say I'm not ready to play it until like 5 or 10 years, hypothetically. Right? I found that perfect time to finally play it. I might check eBay first and be like, hey, I wonder how much this collector's edition goes for physically, factory sealed. And I might see that it goes for a lot of money. I'd be like, I think I'll just keep it sealed. I'm going to go buy it digitally. I like that option. It's nice to have those options. When you don't have options, it's not good.
I mean,
That's
not a lot of people can double dip, like the way that you're talking. Like, yes, you do have the option of having it physically and sealed, and then also downloading it digitally so you can still play it.
Well, I think about it. If I play it 5 or 10 years from now,
Yeah,
you know how cheap that's going to be.
true. That's a good point. Yeah.
No, this
Even
happens
like
a
the
lot. Happens a
non-special
lot, too,
edition
yeah.
physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just you go into the the PlayStation Store, Steam, Xbox, whatever, put it on your wish list. They all have it.
Yeah.
As soon as it goes on sale, send you a notification. If it's good enough, I might bite. Not, I might wait.
So I'll say for special edition, like I think Johnny was kind of getting there, is it's only special in the sense of like if you are going to open it and you are going to see everything that is inside of it. Yes, you can keep things sealed for collector's sake, but at that point, it's like you didn't really buy it for the stuff that's inside of it. You just bought it because of the stuff that's inside of it that you can sell later instead of like looking through an art book or listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely something you got to factor. like Nintendo World Championship, I was super hyped to open that.
Oh yeah,
I got the Japanese one as well. That
nice.
came with the 2 Famicom controllers
Yeah,
that you can use. I'm like, this is great.
yeah,
But I was ready to play it right then and there as soon as I got it. With this, it's like, yeah, I do want to play it right now, but can't. I have other
yeah, yeah,
games that I
yeah,
got to play for review. But yeah, it's just nice to have, right?
yeah,
It's nice to have physical special editions versus, hey, here's a digital soundtrack and here's a different pair of pants that you can put on your character. These are blue pants versus the the black pants that he normally wears.
mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah.
This is so cool. All right. Next one, the nostalgia factor. So physical items evoke memories and emotions associated with past gaming experiences. Like when I turn around, sometimes like when I grab one of these games and I play them, and I have been dipping into the old collection lately and reviewing some old games, but just grabbing them and looking at them
Mm-hmm.
and looking at the artwork. And I remember I recently reviewed Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, which was one of my favorite games growing up. But it was the first game I bought with my own money used. And the price tag's still on there. Like this like neon green price tag that says $6.99. And I remember where I bought it from. This video game store we went to every week called Gamers. And we go there to rent games because that's what you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did in the 90s. You guys know. 90s, 2000s, even a little bit. Late 80s. But you rented video games. And you got to know everybody there. Same with like Blockbuster. You get to know the people who work there. But, you just get hit with all these memories, right? All these emotions. It's like, man, this is crazy, right? Just thinking about that. How long ago this was. And then I thought, I'm glad the price tag's still on here. Because it was like literally, it was hanging on by a thread.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and grabbed a piece of tape. And I taped right over it because I don't care. This is my game. If the sticker peels off, it doesn't matter. But, like the box art sticker. But I want to make sure that price tag stayed on there because that was a good memory, just picking that up a couple of weeks ago and looking at that. I think that's one thing that is not something I can ever get from a digital game. Like going on to my PlayStation collection and looking at a game.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, like it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same at all.
Yeah, I talked about how GameCube spines make me happy because they are much more colorful and than what we have on the Nintendo Switch.
I know the sea of red behind me. I know it's annoying. I actually do wish we had artwork on the spines.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's, it just tells a story. I can think of when I got my Super NES Classic, I was waiting at stores. I was waiting in line just to see where they may have them or, and I just got lucky. I didn't give up. I found a store that had them. And like, that's just part of it. Or the Wii that I got. And I know this is different than like a physical game, but just like waiting at midnight to, or just waiting in line until the next morning to pick up a Wii. And everybody there that is hoping to get one. And I was just like lucky enough to have gotten one. I can remember how cold it was that night and that the manager bought everybody a slice of pizza. And we had a motorhome at the time, so we would park the motorhome in the lot. But then, like, if it got too cold, we would like tag out, and somebody would go in the motorhome and kind of warm up, and then
brilliant setup.
Yeah, I have a similar story for the Wii U. There were so many people waiting for it. I mean, there had to be at least one or two.
Yeah. And did you get one?
Oh, I was lucky to get one.
Wow, that's cool, man.
You know, I camped out. The first system I camped out for was GameCube. And from that point on, I was camping out for so many consoles, uh, portables, the GBA, the DS, the 3DS. We camped out 3 days for the Wii in front of Best Buy. We got there on Friday.
Hmm.
Brought a projector. Played video games on the projector on the wall at Best Buy. We've done that a few times with the projector. We were pretty young at the time, obviously, when the Wii came out. So we're all like recently 21. And one of my friends took his mom's van, and you literally open up the back of the van, and it's like a full bar. No joke. So we're sitting in line at Best Buy. We got our big kind of like Thirst Buster Circle K cups. You guys have Circle K where you're at?
No, but I
No.
mean,
7-Eleven.
Bill and Ted taught me what a Circle K was.
Yeah. So you literally got a mixed drink in there. You're
Yeah.
playing video games for like 3 days. You meet a ton of people. You end up making a lot of friends. And it's all because you're camping out for something physical. Like
Yeah.
all these memories I have of camping out for consoles would never exist. And again, yeah, I remember so many things about it. Like what you guys were talking about. And I remember the people I met. I remember the weather. I remember just the excitement around it and the interactions, of course, with the Best Buy associates too. You know, they were nice enough to run me an extra extension cable that they got and then plug it into their store so we could run the projector. You know, things like that. So I didn't have to go get a generator. It was nice.
No download parties. You know, that's my jam. Download parties. We all click download at the same time.
Yeah, it was a blast. The next one, we kind of covered this. No internet required for play. After
Yeah.
initial setup, no need. So I think we can jump past that.
Yeah, I don't want to like kill the vibe or anything, but this could go like 6 hours if we should probably speed it up a little bit.
Let's do it. All right. Access across consoles. Physical copies can be used on multiple consoles of the same type.
Yeah, that's like leads into the lending aspect, or even the reselling where you can buy used, sell.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree. Let me get to the next one here. This whiteboard.
You gotta like grab it in certain places, or
I think it just
That one might be a mystery.
There we go.
oh,
there we go. Here's a good one. Physical media deals, often available through sales in retail stores.
Best
So
Buy, buy
oftentimes
two,
you
get
can
one
get it.
free.
Yeah, oftentimes you can get physical games for an even better deal than digital. And that's not to say that digital has some crazy sales, because they do. But there's times where there's games that digitally are full price for years. Yet I could go buy it at the store for like a fraction of the price. And if we don't have both physical and digital, then what? Then your only option is to buy it digitally for full price. All right, we got avoid digital price manipulation. Less affected by the digital market's fluctuating prices, which kind of ties into what we were just saying. Giftability. easier to give as gifts, which feels more personal than digital codes.
That's hilarious because I feel like my family and we just exchange gift cards now, and it
Oh,
just doesn't feel. It's like just save the $50. Like we can
So,
all
my-
just save $50.
my wife and I, we were just discussing this year how last year, the year before, everybody wants to do White Elephant. And White Elephant can be a fun game, but it's also just like a game where you just get rid of your crap, or it's like a funny gift and you're like, I don't know if I really need this. Like, this is probably just going to go to Goodwill, or I'm going to recycle it or whatever. And then everybody just gave gift cards. And that is almost worse than getting a gift that you don't even want, because it's like, well, what's the fun in that? Like, everybody's just trying to trade for a gift card or steal this gift card, and it takes the fun out of it. So for me, in this case, like, yeah, I want to give somebody a game. Maybe it's one that I think that they would really like, and I can give it to them physically versus just like, here's a code, download it. I guess it's kind of the same. Like, you're still going to have the same experience with it, but it doesn't, to me, it doesn't mean as much. But I don't know, to them, it, like we were saying, maybe they won't even care.
Yeah.
Maybe the fact that you just gave them a gift to play this game is enough for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it feels good. In my experience, like I don't feel good about getting someone a gift card.
Mm.
I just don't. I like to be
It seems
more,
easy.
yeah, I like to be more personal than that. You
Yeah.
know, and I like to get people something that I think they're going to like.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, it shows that I'm committed in this, you know, friendship, relationship, whatever it is, and that I listen and that I care. And when you say something, I pay attention.
Mhm.
And when it comes time to give a gift, I get a good gift because I did all those things.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna, you know, just get you a gift card to somewhere. I'm not gonna get you an Amazon gift card. It just
Yeah.
feels hollow. It feels hollow.
Yeah, it does. Feels safe.
Yeah, I just don't
Yeah.
like it. Limited edition. Some games are only available physically in certain limited runs, also known as limited run games.
Right.
So yeah, that's obviously always one that kind of goes into the special editions.
Yeah.
I like this one, this last one. Physical reminders. They serve as physical reminders to play or revisit a game versus being buried in your digital library. I have like 400 games in my digital PlayStation library. Now, when I say digital, that means these are games that are either bought digitally or I've put the disc in and there's, you know, a picture for the game.
Mhm.
But they do get buried. They literally do. Unless you're scrolling through all your games in your collection, I think seeing them behind me is a lot better than me turning on my PlayStation and scrolling through all the games I have.
I think it
do
depends
think
on
physical is better in that sense.
Yeah, I think it depends on how organized you are, though, because even all your physical games in the back could be buried if, like, they're not alphabetized and you just don't know where something is, right? It's kind of the same thing with how you organize your digital games.
Yeah, like if I was looking at your Switch games behind you, that seems more overwhelming than if I was just scrolling on my Switch with all the little icons where I could see the pictures instead of the spines.
Oh, interesting. So even if it wasn't alphabetized, you would just be trying to find the picture that would help you try to find it
Yeah.
versus
Well, I always
looking
have
at all
mine
the
sorted
spines.
by most played.
Mm.
I don't do it alphabetical.
Because you don't know your ABCs, or
Well, those were
Yeah.
the physical pros. So now we're getting to cons.
All right. First con. storage space. Physical copies require space and can cause clutter over time.
Yeah, we were
Johnny,
talking
what-
about like I have a closet full of stuff that I need to move.
Yeah, my shelves are spilling out. You guys can't see on camera, but if I lowered it like a couple inches, you'll see a ton of video games on the floor because I
Yeah.
need to figure out where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
So I get that. Potential damage. Disc and cartridges can get damaged or lost. Yes, that's true. I think this was a bigger deal back in the day, like PS1, 2, probably 3 era. Especially if like you buy a used game, you want to know if that disc is scratched, right? Like you
Yeah.
want to get a look at that disc first. I swear, like PS1 and 2 era were really bad. Like you'd rent a game, you take it home, it don't work.
Mm-hmm.
I also found out about disc rot, that discs just deteriorate over time. So
That's a real thing.
Well, according to Josh,
Oh yeah, because he was talking about GameCube.
yeah.
I've heard about that too. Apparently, cartridges have a certain amount of shelf life as well.
And then you also like, at least for Game Boy games, you have the batteries that die, which you
Yep.
can replace, but
As far as the getting lost part of it, like I think that probably happens a lot. People just lose their game and then they don't have access to it anymore.
especially
Unless
for
they,
Switch, those things
Yeah.
are tiny.
they're very tiny, and like I can't imagine what it's like for parents to buy their kid a game just for their kid to lose it, and you're out $60, and maybe you buy them another game, or maybe that's you don't get another
Tough
game
luck,
until
kid.
Yeah,
yeah
maybe
until
Learn
you
your
learn how to
lessons. Learn
be
your
responsible.
exactly. It might be a teaching moment.
Yeah,
Learn a valuable lesson about taking care of your physical belongings. But I get that totally. Initial cost, typically more expensive upfront compared to some digital deals. I think that's kind of changed though over the years. I think there's a lot more parity now where it's pretty much the same price.
I will
Physical and
say
digital.
for Nintendo games, they're typically $60. You could get them for $50 pretty much all the time digitally with the Switch vouchers.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great deal. Excellent deal. See, I don't know if that one makes as much sense these days. But apparently people think so. This was a big one that a lot of people talked about, the environmental impact.
Yeah, that's actually, thinking about it, that's probably really bad because what happens to all these games that were like at a GameStop that they just don't need anymore? It's just they're just sitting in landfills. It's just a bunch of plastic in landfills.
Yep, they get buried next to ET.
and not only that, just distribution.
Yeah, I'm saving the
No, like-
environment.
Yeah,
By-
distribution's a big one too.
By buying digitally,
By buying digitally. Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I don't know how much energy that takes up to, have this store running and to download. Like, I think anything is going to like hurt the environmental footprint. Like if you really think about it, there's always something that could be hurting it. But I do feel bad when I have all of these Switch games, and we talked about it on the last episode. Like it's just the cartridge inside, and then the rest of it is just open plastic. So I do feel bad about that, and I do know that is part of it. I don't know how many people are actually thinking about it, but maybe they should.
Oh, we just talked about this.
Yeah, that one's kind of a duplicate as well. Physical deterioration. Over time, disc cartridges can degrade. Inconvenience. Okay, I think this is a big one, actually. This is the need to swap disc or cartridges to play different games. So many people talk about this one. So
This is
many.
we talked about this last week. It's such a first world problem. Such
It
a first
is.
world problem. Like, stop being so lazy. Swap your cartridges.
That was exactly my thought. Like 100% my thought is that, wait, all you have to do is stand up.
Yeah, or there's even products that Johnny and I have gotten before that is like a game changer where you just like strap this like cartridge changer on the back of your Switch. You can have like 4 cartridges in at a time. Use a
Yep.
remote to just switch from cartridge to cartridge.
You know, it's funny. Like 2 days ago, I got an email
Uh-huh.
from the company who does that.
Yeah.
Unitech.
Yeah, they're sending, or I don't know if it's Unitech, but company that does it. It's the same thing. It's an 8-in-1 Switch game
Yep.
changer with the remote. And they asked if I wanted to review it. I'm like, yeah, send it on over. Because you know what? I think this will really connect with a lot of people because people don't like to get up and switch their cartridge.
Yeah.
So
It works.
this is like a big one, yeah. There's definitely a market for that because of that. Game updates still requires updates or patches that need to be downloaded, which again we kind of touched on that when we were talking about the pros.
Yeah, I also think that that's problematic once you get further down the line. So like if the store's offline, I don't know if you could download the updates.
No, you can't.
So some games might just not work, even though you have the disc.
Yeah. Unless you can like roll it back.
Yeah.
Portability issues. Harder to travel with compared to your digital library.
Okay. I do want to call Thunderstash out on this because your traveling setup is kind of intense. Like, don't you use a pro controller and you have all these accessories? When I travel, I just use I don't even use like a grip or anything. It's just the Switch.
Oh, see, if I'm on the plane, I bring my pro controller. Like I just have it in my bag that has my laptop in it.
Weirdos.
And why? You don't
Playing
put it in tabletop mode? Yeah.
3 people have ever done that, and 2 of them are here.
Well, so when I was traveling, the Nintendo World Championship and the Turtles game had come out. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, the good one. They'd came out like a day before I was leaving. And I wanted to review these games, so I brought my laptop along with my capture card. And I can play the Switch on my laptop, capture all the game footage with 0 input lag. And so in that case, I have to use my Pro controller anyways. I mean, I guess I could remove a Joy-Con and like play with my Joy-Con, but why do that when you can use the Pro controller?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like playing though in tabletop mode. When I was in mortgage, I traveled a lot to the East Coast, and many of times I just put it in the tabletop mode and recline back. We just sit there and play with my pro controller, be playing Zelda for hours on the plane.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it.
Especially if you have the like OLED kickstand. That's the main reason people should play in tabletop mode. Don't play on the little I don't even know what we're calling it, but the terrible plastic little thin strip that they gave you for the original Switch.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
kickstand's horrible.
The OLED is worth the extra $50 just for the kickstand.
It's true.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's very nice, high quality. Okay, another con is limited stock. Physical copies can sell out, leading to the game being unavailable. This does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Fire Emblem Awakening came out. It was really hard to find a physical copy.
Yeah, I've seen this happen a lot. This happened recently with it was a special edition, but the special edition of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I have it, but I go on Twitter and no one could find it. And then I get on my phone and I start looking at Walmart, Target, Best Buy. Everyone's sold out. So yeah, it definitely does happen. Okay, dependency on retailers. I'm going to say this is a big one. So availability is dependent on, of course, physical retail. And let me just say, I've pre-ordered so many games from Best Buy over the years. I will get a email from them and a text telling me the game's ready to pick up. Come to the store. Okay. So I go to the store. I get down there. I show them the barcode. Hey, I'm here to pick up the game. Oh, we didn't get this in yet. What do you mean? You guys sent me a text. You guys emailed me. Please tell me you're joking. This is like 60 miles round trip to drive to you guys just to get my physical game.
Yeah.
I kid you not, guys. I am not exaggerating at all. And this has happened more times than I could ever try to count. And I don't want to count. I don't want to keep track of it. It's not a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, this happens all the time. Or I for instance, I went to go pick up Astrobot. There's a Walmart across the street from me. I get there early in the morning. They open at 6. I'm there at 6. I go over there to the video game section. I don't see it anywhere, but I see the tag. See the yellow tag, Astrobot. Price, no games. So I go talk to person working in electronics. Say, hey, do you guys have a Astrobot in the back? And they're like, I've never heard of that. I'm like, oh, well, it comes out today. Like, oh, that's probably why I've never heard of it. They're like, yeah, I don't think we have that. I was like, well, you have a price tag out there for it. They're like, oh, we do? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, well, it's probably sold out then. I'm like, no, because it comes out today. And I'm the first one here in your store. This is not possible, right?
Yeah.
Guys, this happens all the time. I kid you not. And it's so funny because I come home and I'll obviously come home a lot later. My girlfriend's like, that took a while, huh? Like, what? Of course I wasn't able to get it at Walmart. They've never heard of the game.
Mm-hmm. So you got to go somewhere else.
So I got to go somewhere else now. And then I have to go to Target, which is even further.
Yeah.
And if they don't have it, then, it's Best Buy that's even further. So this happens, though, I swear to you, all the time. And, like, that one for me, that might be one of the biggest physical cons. Because this has been going on. This isn't, like, in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this sort of BS, especially dating back to, like, pre-ordering games at Best Buy. I mean, we're in 2024. I'd say this has been going on for about 10 years. Consistently.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's like it's not really their fault. Like, you should know, I guess, what someone is talking about if that's the department that you're working in.
I agree.
But at the same time, it's like that's not what they're there to get paid for. So
No, it's not. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And I don't get mad at them ever. Yeah,
But
I'm
it's
like,
frustrating.
as kind as could be to them. Yeah, because like I know they don't like know this stuff, and like I'll try and help them in a very nice way, like tell them what kind of they need to do, which based on experience, like should be in the back. It's usually in a box because
Right.
I know they'll put them out in the morning. But Best Buy, what I don't like is that they'll send you a text and an email telling you to come to the store. It's ready to pick up. Now, is it the employee's fault? No, it never is. Of course not. It's not their fault. It's Best Buy's fault though,
Hmm.
because you guys send me texts all the time. So it's
I
something
think,
like that that happens on a regular basis.
and you were saying like in the past 10 years, I think though, like everything, every piece of media has just become like there's just more of it, you know, and so it's so hard to keep up with what everybody is like wanting to buy or what they're wanting to watch or what they're wanting to listen to. So like people will tell me of like bands, they're like, "Oh, have you heard of this band?" And I'm like, I don't even know what you just said. You know, like
Oh
I've
yeah,
never heard of them before.
I'm the same way. I haven't listened to new music since like the year 2000.
But it's cool that it's out there, like that it's available. Um,
Yeah, and these
but yeah, I
workers are
mean,
getting
like,
paid like nothing.
yeah,
'Cause I remember
The other,
I had this issue going to I whenever a new like amiibo comes out that I want to get, I usually just go to Target. It's like right down the street from me, and they open at 8 or 9. I forget what time, and I usually get there like right at 8. And I always go back to electronics. It's never out. I always have to ask them to go to the back.
hmm
And I know it's not that. I know it's not them. I mean, the store policy honestly should be like they stock it the night before or something because
yeah, that's the logical thing. I agree.
I don't expect, some guy that's getting paid minimum wage to know what a Callie and Marie amiibo is.
oh, I got them right here. I just haven't opened it yet, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, I don't expect them to know it all totally. It's it's the logistics part. It honestly is with Best Buy.
sure,
That's the big one.
yeah,
That and they never know anything about my pre-order bonus, and I have to tell them. And they tell me I'm wrong, and I'll show them their website. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess you are right. Like, hey, man, it's ain't about being right or wrong. I don't care. I just want my pre-order bonus so I can go. Let's see. Yeah, longer install times due to reading from the disk. I think people's mileage will vary there.
And if you're a Nintendo only player, you don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, you don't. Lost disk equals lost game. Losing the
yeah.
disc usually means losing access to the game. Yeah. Again, take care of your stuff though.
I
Don't
know
be
it
losing
happens.
video
I don't know if
games.
it happens. I don't think it happens a lot. I know probably kids probably misplace their stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But
You don't think there's adults that misplace stuff?
no, there is, but I doubt it's as often as a child.
You'd
I would
hope
hope
not.
it's not as often as a child.
Right, right.
I think this is one we've all experienced. We just talked about this, John. You can start playing many big name games at midnight Eastern Standard Time, just 9 p.m. for me.
I know that must be
For-
nice.
It is
You
nice.
guys should
It's very
all
nice.
should have to abide by the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Because I'm sick of this. Because because we were talking about Astrobot because I think you picked it up the next day, and I'm like, I already played it. But here's the thing. Here's the reality of it. I loaded it up at midnight, and I was dead tired by 12:30.
Yeah, that's the thing too, guys. That as an adult, I'm not trying to play a brand new game that I've been looking forward to past midnight and starting it that like I'm not trying to jack up my sleep schedule to play this game when I know I can play it refreshed in the morning, totally focused, ready to go. but I get it. I get it, right? All right. No backward compatibility guarantee.
Hmm.
Physical games may not always be compatible with newer consoles. Yeah, I mean,
Good point.
you can take your digital library with you. You know, like hypothetically, if you own an Xbox One, your games are not backwards compatible physically on the Series S because it does not have a disk drive.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Same
Yeah.
with, I guess, with PlayStation 5 digital, and if you have PS4 physical games. Yeah, I even think like if you go to a digital only platform from one that has physical. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that one was interesting too. I had to think about it for a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, there's a scenario there. You know, some people mention fragile packaging, cases can break, manuals can tear. I mean, yeah, that happens. I get games delivered to me all the time. And you guys know when you shake the package,
It's
you're like,
rattling.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
think that's definitely an issue with older games, like your cartridge based games. How many boxes do you actually have for your cartridge based games? Probably not many.
no, not many at all. Definitely not for cartridge-based games.
That
Those are all
is,
the physical pros and cons, guys.
That's I mean, I'm still on the side of physical. I understand some of the cons for physical, but at the same time, it's I don't want to sound like, you know, that I'm the older generation and I care about physical because there's
Yeah.
people that are listening to this that's like, I don't care about any of that. I have my games. I can play them when I want.
live in the now, bro. Live in the now. Stop living in stop living in the past.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I love collecting. And yes, you can collect digital games, I guess, but it's all just tiles. You don't actually get to like hold it in your hands. You get to hold the system, I guess, that has everything in it.
How
Or you
often do
just
you
get to
just like hold a game in your hand though? Just like sitting, like staring at it.
Yeah, I mean
You
not
do
often,
use
but
it.
it's
You
kind
do
of
it once to put the game into the system, and then you just put it back on the shelf. You're not really holding games for very long.
no, but it's like what Thunderstash was saying is like each one has a memory tied to it, and it's just nice, I guess, having that memory still instead of giving it up.
Yeah, I'm a very visual person.
Yeah.
So you know, seeing something like the box art, that's that's what kind of helps to evoke the memories, right? So yeah, it's not the same. Not the same digitally.
So when you were looking up these like videos, most of the time, like were people on the side of physical or were they on the side of digital?
I think for the majority, it was they were on the side. You see the direction that we're going in, and that's always kind of been my stance too. Like, I'm not trying to act like I don't know what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I know the direction we're going. Uh, I know that these companies want to get away from everything that has to do with physical.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for these companies, these developers to not lose money, a la like Alan Wake 2, how many people didn't buy it because it wasn't physical?
Yeah.
Now, if everyone does it, then they don't lose money because that is your only choice. So they're
Right.
really trying to push to get everyone to do it because if it's not everyone, someone loses money. And so I think that's the direction, honestly, this is going in. And I do believe with Switch 2, we're still going to have cartridges. But I cannot say the same for the next Xbox. If we get a next physical Xbox, I don't know.
We'll find out tomorrow what PlayStation's doing.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
very
is that
excited for
tomorrow?
that.
Yeah. Well, I guess yesterday. We're in the future.
For when the episode comes out.
You'll already know. Is it gonna
Yeah.
be a digital only PlayStation Pro? We don't know.
Yeah, I'm expecting that. I'm expecting the digital only, and with the option to buy the
The optical drive.
disc drive. Yep, that's what I'm expecting. $600, $599,
Get a second job.
$599, and 680. How much is the disc drive? $80, right? So 680 plus tax, so $700, easy.
For a system that doesn't have games. It just got its first game.
Yep, it'd be interesting. Do you guys want to hit these?
We'll do speed round. Let's do speed round. Because I know
All
you guys,
right.
I know both you guys are mostly physical, and I'm actually probably leaning more towards physical now. But let's see. Let's just do some speed rounds here. Digital
right.
pros. What do we got?
Rapid fire.
Convenience.
Convenience. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No physical space required. Instant access. Buy and download from anywhere with internet access. This was a good one. Auto updates.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
I don't
you
like
know-
when it
you don't-
doesn't work though. Like
Yeah.
sometimes they just don't work.
That's
they
true.
just
Sometimes
don't
it doesn't.
auto update.
Yeah, it's not perfected at all because then you'll start the game and they'll be like, "Oh, you need to go back to the main menu and update it." You're like, "What?"
Yeah, every time I want to play Fortnite, like I get in weird moods to play Fortnite, and it's always, a month and a half between gaming sessions. And I think it's up to date, but no, it's like, no, you got to update it, and then it's 2 hours of updating.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not fun. Access across devices, easily accessible on multiple devices within the same ecosystem. Okay. Sales and discounts, frequent digital sales and discounts. That's definitely a pro. That's a good thing. You don't have to worry about physical wear and tear because digital copies don't degrade or break, obviously. Easy library management. Digital libraries can be easily organized and managed.
I do like that. I don't have to think about my ABCs. It just automatically does it for me.
Yeah, I like that there's options to how you want to sort them. Preloading options. Love this one. Love this about digital. I got the new NBA 2K25. I've been playing it every year since it came out in '99 on Dreamcast. And it's a big game, right? It's like the Call of Duties and the Maddens. They're big games.
Yeah, you're not playing those on Switch.
No, and the fact that I could download it, it started auto downloading like 2 days before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when the game went live at 9 p.m. my time, I was able to play. That's really nice, and I think that is kind of underestimated.
Yeah, I love playing right at midnight. Not having
Yeah.
to wait to download.
Yeah, I think it's nice as long as you're not tired, of course. That's the hard part these days. Environmental impact. No physical production or shipping required.
I wonder if the servers have any impact.
They probably do. You mention it. Easier to switch between games. Quickly switch between games without needing to swap disk.
I kind
Remote
of sometimes
play.
get ADHD, like game ADHD. I jump from game to game too much because I could just close it out and then open up another one.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't have that, but I could see that. Totally. No retail dependency. global accessibility, accessible from any location. That is true.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can play your digital library anywhere. Gift options. You can gift games digitally to friends without physical delivery.
Can you do that on the Switch yet?
I don't think so. That's the thing. Like, that's not a global statement. You know what I mean? Like, I remember you could
Nintendo,
with
get
the
with the
Wii.
times. That's such a cool. I do like that. That's such a cool feature where you just send somebody a game. Like,
Yeah, I really liked it. But again, yeah, it's been a long time. I feel like since that was a thing. All right, we got the digital cons now. And there's one in here at the end. Actually, I think it's the last one. And I thought that one is very interesting when we get to it. It'll probably, I would presume it would be a little surprising to you guys. So I'm going to keep the question block on that last one.
Okay.
Get all these removed here. Okay. So the first one, no resale or trading. Of course, you can't sell or trade digital games.
it's actually a pro for me. I don't like selling games.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell games. That's really the thing.
Yeah.
But if they're there and I'm like, you know, I could sell this for $20 and $20 give me like Starbucks.
Yeah. It forces you to make a better decision, basically.
That's what happened in my GameCube collection. RIP.
Account dependency. Loss of access or loss of account access means loss of all games.
That
Yeah.
would suck.
Identity theft's a real thing.
Let's pray that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, that'd be horrible. Storage limitations require significant digital storage space. That is true if you play like all digital.
Yeah, I think it's only really true for Switch though.
Series
Because-
S too.
For what?
Series S. You throw Call of Duty on there in a sports game.
Yeah, but isn't the even if you had the physical for Call of Duty, I know this isn't the same for Series S, but if you had the physical for Call of Duty, isn't the install size still the same as the digital download?
Yeah, I don't know. I know you have options as to like what you want to install,
Yeah, that's true.
which is nice.
A
Let's
con
see.
cannot be no physical collection. That can't be a con of a digital. That's like a con.
Apparently, it is because they don't have space, or they're ashamed of their video game addiction, and they don't
Oh.
want people to see all the games they own. Kind of
Okay.
weird, right?
That is weird.
Download and install times, depending on internet speed, which can be slow, which we kind of covered. Potential price hikes. Digital prices may be subject to fluctuations and regional pricing. Digital rights management. DRM. Some games have restrictive DRM measures. Again, kind of talked
Steam.
about that.
A lot of Steam games do that.
Server dependency reliant on digital store servers, which can have downtime. Yeah, we've seen that happen. I mean, is it a huge deal? I don't think so. Long-term availability concerns. Digital games can be delisted or removed. DuckTales Remastered.
Yeah.
No refunds. Digital purchases often have strict or no refund policies. Now, I know they're different across each platform, right? I think some is like if you buy it but you don't install it.
Yeah, I think
Or-
Steam is like if you play less than 2 hours.
Okay, they're the ones that are 2 hours. I knew one of them was. I kind of like that one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I mean, some games are really short though. Like there are 2-hour games out there.
You know what I
But-
was wondering? What and how the store policies were going to be handled. with everyone who bought the physical edition of Concord.
I know. Yeah, I don't.
Because Sony put in their press statement that if you bought it from PlayStation Store digitally or physically from our physical store, we will refund you, and that you'll have to refer to the store that you bought it from for their return policy. Well, I'll tell you what it is. If you open the game, you can't return it.
That sucks.
Well, that's not right.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not
That's
right.
not good.
That's why you should have bought it digitally.
Yeah, they might face some heat there. I don't know. though.
No, I'm sure they'll rectify that. I would assume, because that just seems wrong.
Exactly. Sell me a game that I was only able to play for 2 weeks if I bought it on day one.
Yeah.
Imagine if you bought it the day before. Imagine if you bought it that night and the next day you're like you see a statement that's taken offline. Like, what?
There's
I
just
did
not
see it.
enough room to breathe. Like 2 weeks is not enough room
Yeah.
for anything to
all.
breathe. We see it now with movies where they're taking them out of theaters within like a week or two. It's just not. People don't. Not everybody buys games day one or within the first couple weeks of a game's release.
No. Realistically, they don't. Potential for data loss. Risk of losing data due to storage corruption or accidental deletion.
My PlayStation yells at me every day, and I don't know why. Because
Really?
it's like, well, whenever, I don't know, it turns off or like, I think my power went out, you get that warning
Oh, yeah, that you didn't
that you
shut
didn't
down
turn it
your
off
console
properly. Yeah.
Yeah. That warning, man. I can't tell you how many times I've cussed at my PlayStation when I see that warning. Let's see. No special editions. Now, obviously, this is kind of what we talked about. Digital versions often lack
Don't tell Ubisoft that.
content. Oh my god.
They have the Ultra Deluxe Digital Collection.
Yeah. For only $130, you can get the gold edition. You can beta test the game for us. We won't pay you, even though we
And
should.
We'll
And then you got
patch
to
it.
restart your save.
Yeah, we'll patch it. And you'll gotta restart your save. Yeah.
They're in deep, man. That is a whole nother discussion. Subscription dependencies. Some digital content is tied to subscriptions that need renewal.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus. Xbox. Is Xbox Live still? It's not a thing anymore. Gold now. Well, now it's all Game Pass.
Yeah. There's so many different tiers, man. You know how that was when they announced that. Everyone was like trying to, like they needed a lawyer to read it over for them.
Yes, I'm paying $20 a month now for Vampire
Yeah.
Survivors.
Regional restrictions. Some digital content may be restricted or unavailable in certain regions. Yeah, that's kind of I wouldn't say a one-off, but pretty damn close. Doesn't happen often. Privacy concerns. Increased data collection through digital storefronts.
There have been hacks.
There's been a lot of hacks,
There've been a lot of hacks.
especially in the last 12 months. Tons.
I remember the big PlayStation one, probably like 15 years, maybe 15 years ago now.
Yeah, I remember that too. There's been a lot. Not giftable in the traditional sense. Gifting digital games lacks the personal touch
Yeah.
of a physical item. Totally
I like
true.
that one. I'm coming around to that one. That's one of my favorites.
Well, so we had bought some video games for my friend's kid, and it was like, well, do we get him a gift card? And you saw the look at my face, like the look I had was like, what'd you just say? You're like, are you kidding me? A gift card? No. We're buying him Breath of the Wild. This is his first Zelda game.
He's 3 years
And
old.
Yeah, I remember how special it was for me when I got my first Zelda game. There's no way I'm letting him decide what game he thinks is best for him. I
He's
know
gonna
it's
spend
best
it
for
on
him.
Robux.
Yeah. So no, I totally get that though. Like if there's games that I really think someone's gonna want, or I think it will help them. Honestly, I think Zelda would help him. Zelda helped me with so much troubleshooting in my life.
Yeah, problem
Yes.
solving. Yeah, that's a good series for that.
Yep.
So this is the
Okay.
big one, or the
Yeah. Yeah. This one's so interesting because I think it's something that, uh, one, not a lot of people think about. Two, the young kids don't think about it at all. But I'm approaching 40, and it is something that I'm thinking about. This is something that I have to do. We all have to do this when we get older. And that is you can't put your digital games in a will because you literally don't own them. I looked this up. I read a blog from a lawyer about this. And additionally, you cannot transfer your game account. So
what?
if I wanted to say, hey, I want to transfer my Nintendo Switch account or my PlayStation account to so and so upon death,
Uh-huh.
can't do it. There's
Why is
laws.
that?
There's laws that say you can't. I did a deep dive into this. It's a lot of technical jargon, as you would imagine, but this is totally legit. That you cannot put your digital games in a will. So, it if I want to give all my video games, say all the games behind me I own, say I don't own them physically, but I own all of these digitally. Okay, there's like $60,000 or $70,000 worth of video games. I can't give that to anybody.
That's messed up.
I think that's horrible.
We did talk about how physical games can be passed down or inherited. We didn't even think about transferring
Nope.
digital libraries or what happens to your digital accounts.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that you wouldn't be able to transfer your digital games. And then it's like, and it literally said it. The lawyer's like, it's because you literally don't own them. Like that's not even my opinion there. I
Oh
copied
no!
what he
So all the
said.
people online are right.
Yeah, you
You
literally
don't.
don't own them. You won't own anything, and you'll be happy.
Oh man.
Klaus Schwab. You won't own anything, and you'll be happy. That's immediately what I thought of. I'm like, oh my god, that's
So like
horrible.
that, I feel like that right there is the reason for why people should buy physically. If you're somebody that is only going to play the game just because you want to play it, you have no interest in passing it down to somebody else, you don't care that you don't actually own your game, then yeah, I guess it's fine for you. But for others, like that's huge.
As a wise person once said, "F them kids."
Who was that?
Yeah,
I I don't
I
know,
remember
but
that. Though. I remember.
that honestly is a very good argument for buying physical.
it does, like Johnny, when you hear that, and you have been told that for years, and now you have your digital collection on Switch. Does that like how are you feeling right now?
I feel fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, live with
Oh,
no
and
regrets,
why
man.
is that?
You gotta live with no regrets.
No regrets except GameCube.
No regrets except GameCube, exactly. No, I mean I don't have any I don't have kids right now anyway. I don't have kids right now. I mean I would probably give it to my nephew or,
Mm-hmm.
well my my partner if they're still around. I don't know. It does suck. but in the grand scheme of things, like how much is my digital collection worth? A couple $1,000s. It's not as in depth as like Steve's collection behind him. Like they're just digital games. A lot of them are indie games. They're worth $10-15. So it's probably worth a few $1,000s. It's not a life-changing amount. So that doesn't affect me too much.
I feel like if we go digital only, the future that looks like we're going to be stepping into soon here, I think that's what concerns me, right? Like, take my collection out of the equation. Let's say that we're all just starting right now collecting games, and we can only do it digitally. And then 20 years goes by, 30 years of us amassing a massive digital collection across all these different consoles, and we can't do anything with it. We can't pass it on to anyone. Like I don't have kids, but I have a godson. I have brothers. I have my cousin. I'd want somebody to have them when I go. I really would, because it's a big part of my life.
What honestly will happen if we go fully digital, there will be a court case that somebody will fight it. Will try to fight it, and based on that decision, the law will either be upheld or changed, because laws change all the time.
Yeah, I think there will be a court case too, man.
Especially if we are going fully digital, like you're saying nothing that you own, you don't own anything at all.
Yeah.
Besides what you can physically hold. And I don't know, it means you could pass down like stocks.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there is a physical stock you own that you can get access to. It's like a certificate, but you don't have a vault full of. It's not like having cash in a safe. It's an intangible item that you have that you could pass down. So I don't think that will remain the case 30 years down the line.
Let's hope not. But I mean, if it does, what do? You just say, okay, well, here's put in the will as well. You're taking my console. You are now taking over ThunderSteve85 PlayStation Network username.
TM.
I will live on through my online avatar. Like that was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, okay, well, what's a way around this? Well, I guess your legacy can really live on with the video games, because they're going to have to take your username over and all that too.
Have you ever, there's a show, it's called Upload. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's on Amazon. And the concept is before you die, you upload your conscience into like a server. Okay. And then you live on this server. So that's where we're headed. That's what I'm banking on.
Interesting, because I've seen the preview for it on Amazon, and I've been telling the lady, like, we should watch this for a while.
It's funny. It's bizarre, but it's funny.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I'm into the sci-fi, the dystopian stuff.
Ooh,
the dystopian, what our future may be looking like soon kind of stuff.
You watching Severance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I watched that. It was a good one. One of my favorites was The Man in the High Castle.
Oh, yeah, the alternate universe.
So good. Yeah, I like stuff like that. Big into that.
Yeah, well, watch Upload, and then that's the idea of keeping your possessions.
I do think that will happen, too. I think it will be something that should be offered in our lifetime. The ability to upload your consciousness. Yeah.
Crazy.
And they'll make a avatar, right?
Yeah.
3D avatar.
that you have to pay
we
for.
joke about it all the time,
It's all
just
capitalism.
Ready Player One, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But anyway, thank you so much, Steve, for providing all of that information and sharing your thoughts on it, letting us share our thoughts. It's very fascinating, but it's also very sad at the same time because kind of like what you said, we're already headed in that direction. So I guess you just got to appreciate every moment that you have with it until it's just gone.
Not if people
Yeah.
like me keep changing. I'm switching over to the physical side.
Yeah, true. And I mean, like, vinyl was huge in the past couple of years. So,
Massive. It's growing year over year over year. It's
yeah.
also something I read that it continues to grow. So, yeah, we may not be out of the game yet.
Well, Steve, where can people find you? Tell people what you do. And thank you so much, man. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. So you can find me on YouTube at ThunderstashGaming, and I review video games, both new and retro. Been gaming my whole life. I'm almost 40. Been gaming since I was 3 with my brother. So lifelong gamer. And
What's
so
Oh, sorry to cut you off. What's the biggest game that you are looking forward to right now?
right now would be Zelda.
Yeah.
Echoes of Wisdom. Very excited. I grew up with the top-down Zelda. That was obviously my first one was the original Zelda. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. There's so many great games coming out. But yeah, it's my most hyped one. But that's where you guys can find me, Thunderstash Gaming on YouTube, and then on Instagram, TikTok is Thunderstash Gaming, and then on Twitter, it's Thunderstash YT for YouTube. And that's where you can find me. Yeah, video game reviews, honest reviews. I'm not paid. I'm not paid to give good reviews. I'm an honest video game
neither.
reviewer. No, I know you're there is that out there though. I believe there is, and I don't
And
like
you need
that.
it. Yeah.
Yep, we need honesty in the game for sure.
Yeah. But Johnny, where can people find you?
I'm Johnny Bo everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, the Nintendo Powercast, and yeah, I haven't made a video this week because I'm busy. Been doing TikToks, but not videos.
And you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Nintendo Powercast, CheezyC64, CheeEzyC 64. Yes. What do you got, Steve?
I want to mention one other thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
So this week, I'm one of the official co-streamers for the Indie Mania event.
Nice.
It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. IGN's involved now, which is cool because that's not how it started, but they want to be a part of the event as well. So I will be live streaming that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. The event starts at 10, but you can come hang out early, chat, probably playing some video games until the event starts. There's going to be a lot of indie games shown. There's over 80 developers.
Oh wow!
And yeah, so I'm hoping to see a bunch of new games, and some of the developers on there, I definitely know them, and I've reviewed some of their games, like Way Forward. Big fan of theirs. I reviewed their Contra game earlier this year. Retroware. I'm playing a game right now that I'm reviewing from Retroware. So there's a lot of good developers. So it should be really interesting. They're going to be showing new games that we haven't seen yet.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Steve, do you have any closing thoughts for this episode?
Just that, support physical as long as you can. That is my game plan. I'm willing to support it until the end. And when it's over, it's over. I won't be stuck in the past. I'll move on. I'll always still play video games. I'll buy them digitally like everybody else, but I'm gonna buy them as long as they're physical.
No regrets.